In this video, I'm going to use control assign to add some custom assignments to the big strings part of this performance. Right now, I've got 3 parts, but I just want to work with big strings for now, so I'm going to solo that part. And now let's edit it. I'm going to make sure that common is selected, mod control and control assign with auto select enabled. And now when I move the mod wheel or the ribbon, I can see the assignments that are made to those controls. But if I move the knobs, nothing will happen at this point because I'm in tone mode. So let's switch that over to assign. And now when I move the knobs, I can see their assignments. So I can see that on assign knob 1, we have element level, which is turned off for elements 1 and 3, and there are only 3 elements in this part, so it's affecting just element 2. Let's hear it. Let's take a look at knob 2. Knob 2 is set to the attack for all elements. So at its lowest point, we have a very fast attack, and if we turn it right up, we have a very slow attack. Knob 3 is unassigned, so let's work with that. I'm going to select the first element and then grab hold of the filter cutoff and reduce that even further for all 3 elements. Now with that parameter selected, I can see that control assign is lit, which means that that parameter is assignable. So let's arm control assign by clicking it, and then I can move knob 3. I will instantly have cutoff mapped to assign knob 3. Let's give that a label so that we can identify it as our own. And we can see that it's affecting all elements with a ratio of 32, which essentially means that when we go to about 0, then it has no effect, and 32 means that it goes from no effect to full effect. We can go beyond that if we want to, but that seems fine for now. Let's have a listen to it. You may have noticed that as I hit the keys there, it activated aftertouch. That's because we have auto select enabled, and I hit the keys hard enough that we went into aftertouch. So we'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm happy with that. Let's go back to the elements again, and this time let's map resonance to knob 4 in the same way. We'll label that as well. And let's hear that. Bring up the cutoff and then adjust the resonance. It's a bit extreme, but that's fine. So we've now got resonance and cutoff assigned to knobs 3 and 4 of part 1. Now we did activate aftertouch earlier on, so let's do something with that. Let's go to element 1 again and pick up the element LFO, and let's maybe have it affect the pitch modulation with aftertouch. So again, control assign has lit up, so let's activate that, and this time rather than touching a control, I'm going to press down into the aftertouch zone, and now I've got aftertouch mapped to the LFO pitch modulation. So let's hear it. That's a bit extreme, so let's turn that down to maybe about there. And let's have it only affect the first 2 elements, just for the sake of showing that that works. That sounds good. So let's drop out of the editor and see what we've got. So now we've still got this part selected, and we can see that my custom mappings, cutoff and resonance, are assigned to knobs 3 and 4. Let's hear those briefly. We've also got the assignments that were made in the factory patch. So that's all good. Now let's take that out of solo mode and select the performance instead. But now my mappings have disappeared. Why is that? Well, the reason for that is that the knobs in performance mode have a separate set of mappings from each individual part. And if we want the performance level knobs to control part level assignments, we need to go and set that up. So let's do that. Let's go back into the editor and let's have a look at what we've already got. So assign knob 1 is already assigned to part 1 assign 1, which was the element level for element 2 of the first part. So let's not touch that, although maybe let's give it a label, L1, and let's see what else is there. Looks like the rest of the knobs are unmapped. So we'll go to assign 2, add a mapping, and then the destination is going to be part 1 assign 3, which was my cutoff. Let's give that a label. And then we'll go to the next knob, which is assign knob 3 at the performance or the common level, and we'll map that to part 1 assign 4, which was the resonance. Let's label that. So I'm happy with that. Let's come back out of there, and now we can see that we've got element 1 cutoff and resonance mapped here. So let's hear that working. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, how about if we want those knobs to be affected with the super knob? Well, let's see what the super knob does by default. Okay, so right now the super knob is just taking all of the knobs and moving them from 0 to 127. Let's go and change that around. So we go to motion control and super knob, and we can see that the reason for that is that we have super knob link for all of the performance level knobs. Let's not have that. Let's take off all of the links apart from my cutoff and resonance mappings. And now when I move them, it will just move those knobs. But how about if I want to change it to be a little more complicated than that? How about if I want it to have, let's say, that much cutoff and loads of resonance at the lowest level, and then when I turn the super knob, I want those to kind of reverse. So let's set those to be in position 1. So I've done shift and 1. That's now mapped the position of those knobs to the lowest position of travel in the super knob. And now let's change those to loads of cutoff and minimal resonance and map that to position 2. If you're using a MONTAGE M, you also have a third position which will represent the middle of the travel of the super knob. But now when I move the super knob, you can see that the knobs are moving in different directions. So let's have a quick listen to that. And of course, you can do that with your foot controller if you've got one. And that, in a nutshell, is control assign.